Hey, what's up, y'all? I brought BPG back for us to react to this video, to these videos, to this gentleman out here, Dr. Drip. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. He has millions of views and likes on his TikTok page. I recently came across one of his videos. Instantly, it struck me as odd. I talked to BBG. She thought it was odd. I didn't, she just said, she was like, yeah, I thought it was weird too. So here we are. I figured we could talk about it. Say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
Yeah, this should be interesting.
That was my boyfriend.
Try again.
He didn't give me nothing for my birthday.
Please take it back.
What about this one?
Nope. No, ma'am. Put some clothes on.
What about him?
Take it back. Please. Look.
What about him?
No.
I need some more.
All right, that's all I got.
I'm just really having a bad day, Mr. Dallas. Mr. Dallas, I need my hair done.
Here. That's it. Go away.
More.
That's
I
it.
need
That's
more.
it.
Mr. Dallas, he broke up with me.
Where is he?
Where is he? All right. You can go first. I'm all for it.
Let's not make this, too crass. Let's start with the good things.
Okay.
What I think he's trying to do, which is create a safe space for students. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Yes.
What I think that he is attempting to do is, give students validation, through recognizing the girl's birthday, this boy is bothering me. How do you feel about this guy I'm dating? You know what I mean? For kids, it does matter establishing that personal connection in order to be able to effectively teach. That does matter. However, there's a but. I think that with teaching in particular, you do have to have the boundaries have to be, I don't want to say odd, but they definitely have to be clear. Some of the things that did bother me was also the flowers. Some of the things that I thought that he was trying to go, in a good positive direction in, I think they also for sure could be telltale signs of something.
Of what?
The gift giving.
What do you think? What do you think those will be signs of? Like in worst case scenario, what would it point to? Or no, not worst case, but most likely I would say not worst case, because I know worst case. We already know where that will go.
Well, I mean, we have to be honest though. Worst case.
Okay.
Worst case.
When
you're talking about when you're talking about locking somebody up, pulling somebody in because they had an inappropriate relationship with a child, for sure. Yeah, you looking at some red flags here, and I want to say that without being accusatory because
not at all.
Again, I don't know this man. I only know him based on the content that he presents, but also knowing that he's a marketing teacher and, being a marketing person myself, understanding what it is you're trying to display for consumers, you know what I mean? For the people that are consuming your content. It bothers me some of the things that he chose to highlight. Like I said, for sure, giving hair,
flowers,
giving money, giving flowers, gifts, addressing even, elements of the body, like the girl dancing behind him.
The rejection of the boyfriends, like he's not good enough for you. Like I'm the arbiter of what's good enough for you. You said the money, that, and then so the two things that stood out to me the most was him rejecting the boyfriends and him telling the one girl, put on some clothes. And put on some clothes. I'm a man, and put on some clothes triggers me. Like as a man, I'm triggered by that statement when you tell that to little girls. I don't like the inference. What are you saying?
Yeah.
Like why are we still having this discussion in 2025 about little girls dressing a certain way and not little boys respecting little girls' boundaries or men respecting little girls' boundaries? That is what I found to be very disturbing. The whole thing, though, literally everything he did in there, I was like, I would never do that. like,
and this is where what you say matters more. You know what I mean? What you say matters, and what you do matters. Paired with all of the other elements, put on some clothes. It feels a little too invasive to me, but like I said, I think it could have been said differently. You know what I mean? Like if I have a student come in and they're dressed a particular way, I can tell you you're out of dress code.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
But this is true. You know what I mean? And it's vague in the sense where it doesn't isolate, whether or not this has to do with you being either girl or boy, man
you're just
or woman,
out of the dress
whatever.
code.
You're just out of dress code, which I think would have been a better way to, but I understand for, it's also for, social media purposes. He's trying to say something real quick, real funny, real witty. And like, on the one hand, I don't misunderstand that, but I think that my own experience, from my own experience and from what I've seen, I have seen this just go left way too many times with particularly teachers who are like this, who just don't have, who have sort of loose boundaries with their students.
Yep.
It just it don't end well.
The dude with the long hair, that dude, that was the more he talked, I was like, hey, yo, what?
Super strange.
Super strange. When I initially saw it, I was like, that's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, it's bad, but like, I would never do it, but let's hear it more. And then it was like literally every word out of his mouth after that. I was like, okay, whatever grace I gave him before, ball it up, throw it out the window. Cause no, this is absolutely not you.
My initial video about it though was absolutely no. Like,
you initially was like, nah, that ain't gonna work. And I was like,
not. Because why is she braiding your hair? Like, and I'm thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking about it from a parent's perspective, but also like being on the opposite end, being a girl and being in school, and how inappropriate some of these male teachers really would get. Like, seriously. But also like thinking about the intimacy of,
taking out
braiding
braids.
somebody's hair, like being in somebody's head in general is just,
like you just said, hugs are weird. Hugs are weird. So taking out braids gotta be like,
they get weird real fast.
Taking out braids.
It get weird real fast.
I think
because you can't go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think taking out braids might be worse than if not worse. I think taking out braids is probably as intimate as kissing. It's like it's on the cusp. It's on the cusp, if not like, because think about what it would take. Like, you could kiss some random person at a bar. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you could kiss a random person at the club. You kiss a random person at the grocery store. Somebody taking out your braids, they got to be in your space. You got to feel real comfortable with them. Like, I don't know, man.
It's very Mario coded. Like,
very much.
I literally just talked to my husband about the song the other day, and I was like, I like listening to people talk about how inappropriate the things that kids do nowadays is, and I'm like, we had teen sex symbols.
Yes,
these kids are not touching at all whatsoever what we had going on, including you know what I mean? Bobby Brown, New Edition. We had, every generation had some at that up until now. Like, you don't see that now, but every generation had that. And I think that it has a lot to do with what those boundaries are. Like Mario singing about, you know what I mean? Somebody braiding his hair, but then also going into like these weird sort of subtle, nuanced Easter egg innuendos about, to me between your legs. It's like,
and that was, he had braids, so he was 16-ish.
He starts off the song with "When You Look at Me, I Know You See a 15-year-old." Matter of fact,
15, yeah, I think he was 15. Yep.
And to me, it does. It reminds me of this in the sense that, especially when you dealing with teenagers, like you are teeter-tottering that line of these are people going into adulthood, and sometimes they present as adults and sometimes they don't. Like, sometimes you have conversations with kids, and I teach 7th graders. Sometimes you have conversations with them and you realize, like, wait a minute, okay, they are entering adulthood because their minds are getting there. But then there are other simpler things that they just don't grasp yet. And then you go, oh, wait, you a baby. That's why. Okay. Let me back up a little bit.
Yep.
And I think that's what he needs to be practicing, if I'm honest.
That's fact. My 9-year-old will hit me with some stuff sometimes, and I'll be like, where the hell did that come from? Like, this fool the other day.
How did you know that?
We were talking about houses, and I showed him a house I was looking at, on Zillow or something. And he said, ooh, $699, that's low. said, nigga, what? I looked at her like, you know the market?
First
Like,
of
how the hell
all,
you?
right.
I was like, how do you know the market, bro? Like, what are we doing here? And he was right. Like, he was right. He didn't just say that like out of nowhere. He was like,
Yeah, and y'all, I about to say,
ooh.
where y'all at? The
Yeah, he
man
was.
ain't
Yeah,
wrong.
no, he was. I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, bro. Like, so, but that but he's 9, obviously. I just thought it was
Yeah.
funny though, because I'm like, every now and again, like, so I'm saying like, but those moments, to your point, those moments happen more the older the
Yeah.
child gets, and it's easy to be like, oh, you get it, and then you're like, no, you still got to tell the motherfucker to brush their teeth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
Same
still
person.
telling them the same person.
Same
So,
person understood the market,
yep,
understood that this price is like a good deal for right
it's a good
now.
deal.
Also, I need you to go wash up, because if I ask you when the last time you washed up, you gonna just tell me something. I washed up this morning. I washed up right before we left, and it's like, yep, there it is. You're 9. Okay, never mind.
Do
Never
what I
mind. You're
say.
still a kid.
Do what I told you
Yep,
to do.
you're still a kid. There we go.
Every time I try to give him a little grace, I I give my son a ton of like room to do what he wants to do.
Yeah,
You give it to him like before he move on.
and you gotta answer right back.
You got to interact. We used to let my son curse.
Yeah.
Can't curse in front of other kids. Can't curse in front of company. Definitely can't curse in school. You know what I'm saying? Can't curse in public. You can curse at home though. When you come in the house, you can say whatever you want. This is your house. You can say whatever you want to say. Cool. But this is why I love my son too. So, anyways, he's at school and he cursed. I think he said, but he didn't curse at anybody. He just cursed, and he wrote it down on a piece of paper, which was dumber because I was like, why would you do that? So he wrote it down. He wrote it, and the teacher saw it, and they reprimanded him. He didn't get in like any real trouble. We didn't, like the teacher contacted us or nothing. But he told us what happened. Instantly, you can't curse again until you're 12. We were like, yeah, it was like your third infraction, 3 strikes, you're out. He can't curse again until he's 12. Because he's still a freaking child. And you just do, but you have to do that though, when you're raising kids. You have to give them freedom, and then you see how much is too much. You give them freedom with safe
pull
things.
Something back,
pull something back, and that's all that happens. But I think with that teacher, he has crossed that line where he thinks these people are young adults as opposed to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're kids, they babies, they're not young adults. Young adult, 25 years old. You know what I'm saying? Cool. You can have these kind of conversations if you was like, I wouldn't even do this as a college professor, but just because of the also the power dynamic is to me why you can't really ever play like this. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even like playing like this at work with people that are my age because of the, but you in HR, like, why are you cracking jokes with us? You know what I'm saying? Like, because then when I report somebody to you, your authority automatically is kind of undermined. So I'm not going to do that, So I think just his professionalism, definitely at the very least, his professionalism has to come into question. And like I said, like I was saying to you earlier, the benevolent misogyny was rampant. It was oozing with that, with the flowers and the nope, not that, you know what I'm saying? Nope, that not him. Get rid of him. All of it was odd, So, and I didn't, I just didn't like it. But like you said earlier, I do think that maybe his heart's in the right place. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I give him that. There is room to say that maybe he's not, maybe, I don't know. Maybe his heart's in the right place. Like, he's trying to create a safe space.
And I honestly, I think that it's more of my hope that with this content being so widespread, because he has a lot of eyeballs on his site. I mean, on his page, a lot. So I would hope that even with this criticism, that it's seen more as, hey, let's look into these things and ways to do better, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Because there does need to be some level of adjustment. Because I think one thing that you said that was super important is when you're dealing with kids, there is a level of you're not setting these boundaries just for you, but they do have to understand a level of, this is an authoritative figure. This is somebody who not only do they have to create boundaries for you, but they have to create boundaries for themselves. I had a conversation with a male teacher. This was maybe, I think it was last summer actually. And he was talking about how he had walked away from education because, girls, would like to be accusatory and all of it. And I'm listening to him.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, first of all, you inboxing the wrong person, brother, because what he was saying is that because he was teaching specifically girl students, that he wanted to, he was getting in trouble because he was dropping some of them off at home, like from the after school program. So he was listen to this. And I really I was typing like Kermit, like,
yeah.
I can't believe it. Literally, because I'm like, as he's telling me the story, I'm like, yeah, but these are boundaries you can't cross. And actually, it was in reference to the man who was letting the girls braid his hair. That was the conversation, because I had, back when I had Facebook, I had made a Facebook post about it, and I was talking about how, like, no, as a teacher, you have to have these boundaries, because what you don't want to do is be caught up in some stuff. And then they pull this up, because these are for sure like huge red flags.
Oh, you're dead. You're dead. You get accused and they pull that up. You gone.
They got the same girl that was braiding your hair, sir. Yep. Is that who you saw? You know, gone. And I had explained to him, like, so you have to have these boundaries in place on purpose, because for one, and it's sad that you always have to do this with men. Consider that your daughter is the one who's getting the ride from the male teacher. Like, in one instance, you're okay because you know that you're safe. You know that you're fine. Her parents do not. So if you're, you know what I mean? If your kid is the one getting dropped off, then what? And your kid is the one doing the accusing, then what? Because surely you're not going to go, well, you know how these girls are these days when it's one of yours. When the girl belongs to you, when you have property or ownership over her, you don't want your things violated. So why do you feel like it's okay to sort of muddy the waters when it comes to somebody else's daughter? And I think that a lot of times, male teachers do, because they, especially when you're teaching outside of the collegiate level, they are the minority when it comes to, elementary, middle school, high school, those age ranges, they are minorities when it comes to teaching. On the collegiate level, they are the majority. So they feel like they have something to prove. They want to prove that they have that nurturing spirit, that maternal, kind of thing that women teachers are able to have with their students. So sometimes they go above and beyond, but sometimes that above and beyond can be legit, like you're doing way too much, and you're placing yourself in a position where you don't have healthy boundaries with your students.
Mr. Dallas, can I go to the bathroom? Rude. Hi, I'm thirsty though. Oh, can you go match your...
What would you?
Can I have some?
Let me get $20 though, bro.
Big bag. Really?
Hey, Queen Dallas.
Oh my God, let me tell you.
First, I went to my dad's house, and then after that, I went to my brother's house. When I was in the pool, he gonna try to slip drown me. Like, then I went to my man's house, and I really feel like, you ain't getting none anyways.
Mr. Dallas.
Go ahead. You can go. Oh my God. Was that worse than the first one? I think that might have been worse than the first one. That was bad.
I'm finding it.
That was weird.
Because what was he popping the balloon for?
Okay, Pop the Balloon is a dating show.
Right.
And I get analogies. I love analogies. I love a
good analogy.
I love a good analogy.
Use analogies consistently.
Me too, you know.
Make my own up.
We big on analogies over here. We love them. But there are certain things in certain instances that don't transfer, right? And when you take something from a dating show and you as an adult kind of reenact it with kids, and there's not a very like rigid set of rules to tell everybody that you're not insinuating anything else, then questions get asked. Because what the hell was it about? I don't get it. What were you saying? I told you already. The part that really I be picking up on stuff. I pick up on stuff here and there. You know what I'm saying? I be listening. I'm a little attentive. I ain't the most attentive person, but I'm a little attentive. The part that really I was like, yeah, what I think about him is true. He is very patriarchal. He's very patriarchal, which means he's very misogynistic. And when he popped the balloon at the girl calling him Queen Dallas, I don't know if he like was saying it because, you know, teachers are sensitive about being called Mr. and Mrs., right? Like, I know that's like a thing in the teacher field. Maybe that's what it was, but I think but that she called him queen triggered him, which to me is homophobic because women call me queen all the time. Like, I get called queen often, like in my lives. I think it's funny. I never take offense to it. They call me princess. They call me queen. You know what I'm saying? I've always took it as a sign.
Deep.
You say what?
That's so deep. I've never seen that. I don't know.
You've never seen him call me that?
I don't think I've never seen that. I will say I don't think that in particular was homophobic.
Okay.
Because I am a respecter of, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily need to know why you don't want me to call you a thing. I'm just not going to call you that. You know what I mean? I try to be in practice in that way.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect pronouns, but it's not it's to me on its face, it wasn't warranted. And like that was the thing. I don't know. How often are you getting called queen, first of all?
It was one of those things where if you had taken it, I would have taken anything from the video. You know what I mean? Like, did you need that?
I didn't get that one.
I don't understand. I didn't.
But that's what I'm saying. It seems like he went out of his way to do that.
To kind of, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It made. I was like, why is that even in here? It didn't seem like it fit. But it could be me. I don't know. That could be their school. I'm not raising Gen Z. I'm not in the school with Gen Zers. You would know better than me. I don't want to bring them up. But I don't know. So yeah, if they're calling me and queen and that's their thing, then fine.
But I think this is what I mean. This is when you don't have clear cut boundaries, you have students who
that
want
will do
to come
stuff
in.
like that. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
You don't want them,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't want them doing this one thing because you feel like you're an authority figure and you want the respect, but you also allow them the room and the grace to do this other thing. And that's like, you cannot give kids an inch, not when you got a whole bunch of them together.
They start feeding.
And I am in the classroom with Gen Z. What is it? Gen Z or maybe Gen Alpha, I think.
Okay.
I think I might, yeah.
Maybe Gen Alpha. I think you're like young. Yeah. I think you got the youngest Gen Zers in your class, I think
maybe so. Yeah. But what I will say is that the thing that I've noticed is I have to constantly establish myself as I'm friendly to you. I'm not your friend.
Yes.
I'm here to help you and support you, but also like in this space, I am at the top of that hierarchical ladder. I almost have to keep it that way because it's also my responsibility to keep you safe. You know what I mean? So it's not that I'm creating these boundaries because I personally don't like you or I don't want to,
you're not being mean. You're not being mean. Yeah.
I'm really trying to make sure that these are principles that you are learning. And I actually do have these conversations with my students where I'm like, look, I'm not telling you this because I want to be mean to you. I'm telling you this because this is really how you need to be behaving with adults, period. Don't come in asking me for money because if you ask me for money, I'm going to say no, for one. But also, even if I were in the habit of giving you money, do I want you in the habit of taking money or gifts or anything from other adults?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. Because while I know my intentions are good, I don't know the intentions of other adults around you. So I have to set that boundary in order to keep you safe. It's not because I don't want to be friends. I have to, keep that boundary set where, no, you can't, you can't call me queen, baby,
I hear that.
What? I had a student try to call me something, and I was like, "Sir, first of all, I barely know you. First of all, we just started the trimester off. I don't know you like that. But also, just be in the habit of, being respectful of people. I put my name on the board. That's what I prefer to be called. Let's leave it at that. And I think that's honestly, I don't know how his classroom works, but I will say, you run into issues like that. Like, there's no way not to. You don't want this student calling you queen, but you want to, do weird stuff like pop the balloon with your students. Of course, they think that that's okay.
Personal. You're too close.
Cool.
You're too cool, man. You're too cool, man. That's just a reality. Like, and sooner or later, some kid is gonna cross the line. I don't care if it's a boy. It ain't gotta be sexual or nothing like that. Some kid is
It
going
don't.
to cross that line. They're going to
Yeah.
come to school and offer you some drugs. They're going to come, you know what I'm saying? They're going to
Yeah.
say something. They're going to get too comfy and be like, oh, you see my girl. They're going to show you some it's going to be like some revenge corn type of situation. Like they're
Yeah.
going to do something. It's going to be something. You're going to be one of the
Yeah.
boys. You one of the homies. You they mans in them. No, bro. No, man. You are a teacher. You are an authority figure. You are, you know what I mean? You're all damn near a
Yeah.
parent. You the parent when the parent ain't there. So you
That's
gotta,
true.
you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta act accordingly. And you would think that as a teacher, you would know that, but like, you know, that's not something that everybody knows. We know, I don't want to say the saying because it don't really apply, but common sense ain't common. You know what I mean? In this case,
Yeah.
so it's not something that everybody just grows up and knows consent and knows boundaries and knows,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like we just don't. That's not
Yeah.
something that we teach as a society, especially the men, sadly. But yeah, especially the
Yeah.
men. We going.
And I'm more disturbed at the idea that he does sort of foster these like friendships with
Mhm.
kids where it's more peer to peer than, you know, teacher to student.
Yep.
And that disturbs me again because he first of all, he has the name of the school in his bio already. Huge red flag. Huge
Yeah.
red flag.
I thought
Like
about
even the
sharing it.
video I just posted, I'm like, no, I was very careful not to include my students' faces, and I feel like you might be able to see like one or two in there sprinkled in, but
Yeah,
it's very
that was a
quick.
good video.
But it was, you know what I mean? But it was like, okay, I want to be able to respect their space and their boundaries and maintain a level of safety for them as well. Because if I know it's a school full of kids who the teacher is like, yeah, you know, it's cool to give kids money and flowers and things like that, then you also invite in other people who are like, hey, you know, Mr. Such and Such, yeah, we real cool, we friends, you know, you can be safe with me. And kids do get used to that process. And what do you have? What happens when, okay, again, you're a teacher, you're an authority figure, you've given her flowers and money or, you know, hair or food or whatever, and now she meets this other man who's not very off, you know, he's similar to you. He acts like you. He's helpful like you. He wants to teach her things like you.
He's a youth pastor.
Always. He's a youth pastor. He's a tutor. He's a mentor. You know what I mean? He does all the things. He likes to, you know, figure out how to help, you know, Chinese kids braid their hair. Like he's that kind of dude. But now he's met this girl and he's like, oh, well, you know, I'm no different than, you know, Mr. Drip. I'm not different than him, you know, so you can accept these things from me. And now you set your students up to be in a space where they're in danger, as opposed to, you know, again, you're not the imminent threat, but somebody is.
Yep. Damn. And that's where, and that's how that's how the kids end up not being protected.
That's where it all falls down.
And it's messed up. It's messed up. But BBG, I appreciate you coming on. You know, we'll spin the block again per the usual. Hopefully we can find something interesting. I'm sure we'll find something soon. Y'all go check out BPG. She's on TikTok at BPG313. Wait, you got a new page. What's your new page?
My new page is BPG.
It's BPG313. Can you check out the 313 out? Okay.
My main page is BPG, but my backup page is BPG313. I'm also on YouTube as BPG313, and I have recently added to that list Patreon, and I do have new content on Patreon that it's some writings that I have been working on. I think the first one is live, and the second one will be live tomorrow. So my first writing pretty much discusses what the Patreon is about. And then there's the second one, Real Misogyny, where I dive into misogyny from Hollywood into streaming platforms and how that shows up and how you can recognize the signs of like red pill content, content that is misogynistic, and what the effects of those things are. So
love it. Definitely. Y'all go check that out, man. Appreciate it.